Okay, one of the things about playing heads-up poker is, despite what a lot of online scenarios might look like, you always want to try to mix your play up and not always play every hand exactly the same way, especially when you're deep. When you're deep, you have so much more room to do a lot of different things. You can even do some re-raising before the flop, some limping. Folding on the button's not exactly like a great play for the most part, but definitely you can mix it up a little bit. In this hand, Alex decides to just limp in rather than raise. Let's hear why.
I feel like honestly, I can't believe I'm saying it, but I feel like I'm outplaying him on the flops right now. I really want to see flops with ball right now.
He just limps again, which is interesting.
Okay, let me stop it right there for just a second. Now, here's the thing about playing heads up when you're playing deep stack. Okay, there's another option for Alex right here to still see flops without necessarily limping. And I don't have a problem with limping as a whole, but in these kind of situations, you could make smaller raises, like with the blinds at 2 and 5, you can just make it 10, make the min raise, or make it 12, 14, or even 15, and just go ahead and continue to do that. When you are limping, it definitely makes the pots a little bit smaller, whereas if you're playing in a heads-up match and your opponent is always raising the minimum and you're always limping, you're automatically giving up a little bit of an advantage, because when you're in position, you're playing smaller pots. So I wouldn't use limping as a strategy that when you're playing deep stack poker as much. In tournaments, especially if you play like heads-up sit-and-goes and things like that, often limping becomes a very valuable play, because a standard size raise is enough to entice your opponent to just move all in. For example, the ones where you have 1,500 in chips and all of a sudden the blinds are 1,500. Well, if you're going to raise to 200 or 300, that's enough for your opponent to just move in on. So in those spots, you might just want to either limp or push, or if you are going to make those small raises, have a hand that you really want him to do that with. Anyways, let's see what happens.
Because I'm also playing hands that he's not expecting me to play at all. I forgot to mention that. That's really a big part of my game right here, is playing hands that he's not going to play.
So I hit absolutely nothing. But I don't think he'd limp with an ace.
No, it's only $10, but it is a pot-sized bet. This is interesting.
I'm basically just hoping he doesn't have a 7 or a flush draw, but
I'm just going to let this go. I got a feeling I could do something if I were to hit again, but I'm just going to let this go and save it for another hand where I feel better about the situation.
Cash games are nice for a couple reasons, but one is you can totally track all your results, and you can say, okay, I played for 2 hours here, played for 3 hours here, I won this much here, and they have programs that will basically map out, you do better during the day, you do better at night. You usually, on average, you walk away with, a third of a buy-in, or, they'll tell you all the stuff that you want to know. So, I don't personally use them just because I'm more of, a field player, and I basically take each session as its own entity. But a lot of very successful players, they use a lot of programs to tell them, where they're most profitable, what their most profitable hand range is, just all that stuff that can all be recorded and tracked.
Now let's talk a little bit about a very risky play, and that's check raising the turn. One of the other weapons at your disposal in the turn is the check raise. Once again, though, this is a play that should be used often in limit hold'em, but very sporadically in no limit, for a few key reasons if you're a small ball player. The most obvious reason is that it makes the pot bigger, so you better be sure that's something you want to have happen before making this play. 2, being out of position, if your opponent calls you on the turn, you'll be faced with a difficult decision on the river. And 3, a check raise could cost you pots that you could have won. That could happen one of two ways. Either A, you check raise with a drawing hand and your opponent re-raised, forcing you off the hand. Or B, he could re-raise you as a bluff, representing a hand that he doesn't think you have. The turn check raise is a power move, and like with any power tools, it should be handled with great care. The play also goes against many small ball concepts, since it is designed to get more money in the pot, which will force bigger bets on the river. This is good when you have the nuts or close to it, and it's also why I suggest that when you do check raise the turn, that you have a monster hand.